Hello, Pat.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Little hungover. How are you?
Oh, dear. I'm doing great. Just had my second cup of coffee this morning. So
Yep.
that's
I haven't had any beer yet today, but after our meeting here, I'm gonna head out and got a client here right now. He's a fun guy, so we're gonna go
okay.
out.
Okay. Fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for joining me today.
no problem.
Well, tell the audience a little about yourself and what you do
Sure,
for your clients, and we'll just kind of
that I
go
can.
from there.
All right, let me pull up my notes here. Got them ready. All right, great. So yeah, you'd mentioned you wanted me to talk about some of this. So I go by the King of Kyiv here. It's not it's just a brand name. It's some people think it's kind of out there that I'm calling myself the King of Kyiv, but no, it's just our brand name. Anybody can come here and be the King of Kyiv. One of the things we do, I'll show you here on camera. So we got a nice crown here,
Yeah.
and you could be king for a day and go around.
There you go.
The girls here love it. If you check out my Instagram, which is Kings with an S, Kings of Kyiv, Kyiv spelled the correct Ukrainian way. You can see a ton of pictures of all the people and girls we've met out there. So what do I do here? Basically, I help foreigners. I'm like your friend on the ground. When you come to Kyiv and you've never been here before and you don't know anybody, you can waste a week or 2 weeks just getting situated, figuring it out. And that can be half your trip if you're only coming for a month. So instead, with me, you hit the ground running. I'm here to help. So what I do is I help people plan their trip here. I help them with pre-travel advice, finding cheaper flights, better flights, hotels, Airbnbs, dealing with the COVID restrictions on coming here, which are fairly easy. Pretty much just have a negative PCR test or a vaccine card, and you're going to get in. Even if you show up without one, you could do a rapid test at the airport. That's 50-50. So I recommend having it all taken care of before you come here, and then getting travel insurance and COVID insurance specifically through the official Ukrainian supported website, which is travel visit Ukraine today. So that's where I advise everybody to get their $5 worth of insurance to come. So then all that pre trip stuff I help guys with, and then I also do airport pickups. And then when we get to the airport, we're going to teach them Uber, because as we talked last time, taxis are a scam here. Don't use taxis. You want to use Uber, Bolt, Uklon. So a lot of times foreigners will get out of the airport and their card won't work. That can be a big one. So I'm there to help them to get into that Uber and over to downtown Kyiv on my Don or their Airbnb or their hotel. Um, so on that ride together, I talked to him for 45 minutes from Boryspil Airport. I advise it's usually cheaper to fly into Boryspil. On that ride, we talked for about 45 minutes about just staying safe in Kyiv, common scams. You just get to know each other for a little meet and greet. And we take them to their hotel or their Airbnb, get them checked in. A lot of guys, it's a 23-hour, 24-hour flight sometimes from America. So you're tired. You
Yeah,
might
they're
be
coming
jet
from the
lagged.
West Coast, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're tired, just crash out. Let's start the next day. But if you're not, or you got some sleep on the plane, then we can spend anywhere from 2 to 4, sometimes the whole night, covering all the scams in detail that you'll run into here in Ukraine, with women, with businesses, with the locals. There's 10% restaurants. They'll try to overcharge you on bills, places to not go, places to go. We talk about all that. Um, and a lot of guys come here for women, of course. So we talk about local dating customs. Then long term, if someone wants to stay here more than about 90 days, I talked to him about getting your temporary residency permit, your TRP. Also, guys need assistance getting apartments here. Work with either a realtor or a guy I know, Artemi. He's great. For $100, he finds you a place, all done. You're not going to get scammed through him. He's basically saving you from getting scammed. In fact, one of my friends, he saved $1,500 recently, getting him to walk away from a scam apartment deal that he almost fell for. Tried to find it himself, didn't work out. Then if
Now,
guy,
explain that for just a second, a little bit.
oh sure, okay.
Are you saying that he was entering into kind of a short-term lease, or was this a actual
So
purchase?
my friend Jeff has been here before. He was here for about 50 days. He stayed in just short-term rentals. And he's coming back here on the 5th of November, actually. And he's been gone for about a month, and he wanted to get an apartment for his next trip. So he tried to find one himself. and he was trying to save some money, but also get something really pricey, about $1,500 in rent on Krashatik, like a 3-bedroom place. So doing it himself, he tried to find one that didn't have a real estate agent listed. Well, because he'd had to pay another about $750 through a real estate agent for the middleman fee. That's common here. Um, and he ends up getting involved with someone who was middlemaning a real listing. So what we did is we found out for him that he was this listing was fake that he found for 1,500 American dollars. We found the real listing for about $1,250, and somebody else had just copy pasted the listing, put it somewhere else, and was just hoping some American would bite.
Oh my God.
And just pay. That happens. You got to be careful with that. With through a realtor, that's probably not going to happen. And all they'll do is they will ask the actual owner for the ownership documents and then pass them on to you, or pass it on to you like it's actually theirs. They're just some guy on a computer or with a phone, copy pasting, but going as a middleman, trying to get you to pay for it. And he almost fell for it, but we saved him. So,
wow, that's
and
incredible.
then, it is. It happens. Yeah. So then also when guys get here, like a friend on the ground, you want to meet women if you get here. I do dating coaching, what to do with your online dating profiles, i.e. delete them, unless you insist on trying. We do some experiences. We go out, we go to markets and malls and bars and, just meet locals. Talk to women. So a little bit of a wingman there. I'm a big fat guy, but I got a personality. It doesn't matter here. If you're overweight, it's actually kind of a little bit of a positive. Post-Soviet country,
Mhm.
So they view you didn't if you were overweight, it meant you were rich because you could afford food and you could afford to go to restaurants. So the women like that here. They're a little materialistic like that. I also advise guys on, sometimes they show up and they don't have decent clothes. So let's go to the mall and get you some better looking clothes, or a shave or a new haircut so you can blend in a little more with the locals here. Some of the things I've done for guys is like kind of like an emergency contact. Something goes wrong, get a hold of me. We're going to be there to help you. I had one guy, wasn't a client of mine, just somebody got a hold of me and said he's super sick. My aunt is a doctor, and healthcare here in Ukraine isn't the greatest. He had been having vertigo and was in bed for 3 days. So this guy messages me out of the blue, says, "Hey, what should I do? I'm an American. I'm here." I just met him in passing once, a friend of a friend. And so I got a hold of my aunt, who's a doctor. It's not medical advice, but we diagnosed the symptoms over about 2 hours. And the solution ended up being, we found out correctly that he was iron deficient. And the change in diet here in Ukraine, because back in America, he's eating fortified bread that they added iron to. Here, not so much. And that's what it was, just an iron deficiency. Some iron pills fixed it for him. So saved him there. Big hospital bill, or even could have got worse.
The Georgian bread is wonderful.
Yes, the Georgian bread is wonderful. The one with the egg in the middle, egg and
Yes.
cheese. I call it the Eye of Sauron.
Favorite. Yeah.
Yep, that's great stuff. And then also healthcare help, like I just said. But sometimes, you have a little healthcare problem. You have the public Ukrainian healthcare, and then you have private facilities and getting guys to those. I also have done safekeeping for property. Some guy's going to go, he decides he's going to do something really stupid, like rent a car and just drive off, and he'll be back in 2 days. But he's got a laptop with him and he doesn't want to get robbed. Just come over, leave it at my place, come get it when you're back. No problem. Also, guys, sometimes they get here and they buy souvenirs, whatever, and they want to mail them back to America rather than taking a bag full. It's easy to do here. Nova Posta, post office, send it back. I live on top of one, so it's right here at my house. Also, if they want to order stuff when they're here. So I had another client who really wanted a mini trampoline as part of his workouts, and we found him one on Rosetska for $100. So easy enough. It's only in Russian language on the app. Well, I know what to do and click the buttons. Easy enough. So we got it for him. We also have a Discord for questions, 24 hours. Somebody's always awake. You have a question, you're going to get an answer within 2 minutes, no more than an hour. Somebody will be up late playing video games and they'll know the answer to your question. A bunch of locals, if not myself. And
these
also,
locals, they're Ukrainian that speak English.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, for all friends of mine I've met here, and we all just, some of them are gamers and we have some common interests. So we have a server that everybody just chats in, for everything, mostly Kyiv related. It started off as just a little group chat and it grew. It's now got like 45 people in it. half of which are my local friends here I hang out with all the time, and half are clients who've either been here, here now, come and gone, coming back. Um, and then we also do, I'm almost to the end of my list here, finding stuff. A lot of times you'll have some weird need, anywhere from, you need shoes to a power adapter because you forgot to bring one with you or yours broke. I know we find it for you. Somewhere in Kyiv it'll be, we can order it, whatever. And then the cool thing is, I'm just trying to make friends here in general, always. I'm your friend on the ground. So I introduce people to really cool locals. If the guy who's coming here has an interest in history, one of my friends is a big history buff. He'll talk to you for hours and talk your ear off about it. You want to talk about communism? I got another politician friend guy for that. He'll talk your ear off about it. So that's basically, that sums it up. That's pretty much everything I do here. A couple more things I'm sure I've left out, but you name it, I've been through the experience pretty much at this point.
Well, I got a couple of questions here for you, John.
Sure.
Tell the audience a little about, I guess, either your ideal client or the typical client that you work with. Is there an age demographic or?
Yes, there's two. Two are my favorites. So you get the 45 to 55-year-old boomer, my dad kind of guy, and he's American. He loves sports and drinking beer. Hey, me too. So we usually get along great. I know where to find NFL games here on TV. Also, you can just get a package for $8 on your phone if you want to watch them from your room. That's been a big request. Where do I watch, football? Those guys are great. They're fun. They're not broke. Half have been divorced twice, and they just come here, and it makes me happy to see them happy meeting a traditional girl or whatever kind of girl they're looking for. And, they've been demoralized for so long by the conditions in America. So it's really nice when they find true happiness here in Ukraine. The other clients I really like are the 25 to 35-year-old guys, IT guys. Also, they can be from websites like 4chan, and they haven't had a girlfriend. An interesting statistic I was just reading earlier is that recent study was released, 27% of guys aged 18 to 30 have not had sex in their life. They're virgins. That's unfortunate. It's one of humanity's best experiences. And so you'd call those guys basically incels. The internet would call them these days, and it's unfortunate for them. But here in Ukraine, you can find a woman that's gonna open up to you a lot easier than you can in America, and is gonna be more interested in stuff that you like as well. I'll give me 1 second for water here. And so those guys, they're a bigger project, but I do enjoy this because I enjoy helping people. They're fun because they have no or low social skills, and that's okay. And they can have, really, like, one guy came and he's really into model trains. Always wants to talk about model trains. I'm like, well, there's no model trains here for you, guy. There's real trains. We can go look at the real trains. He's like, yeah, let's go. So you meet a lot of eclectic and interesting people. And again, with those guys, seeing them find happiness for the first time in their life as well by coming to Ukraine is awesome. And just fixing themselves a little bit, gaining some more social skills, friends, things they've never done before in life, stuck on the computer playing video games for 5 years, those guys can be cool too.
Yeah, it's taking them out of their comfort zone and putting them in a circumstance that is very different. For a lot of people can be very liberating.
Yeah. It's also really scary for them. I mean, Absolutely. It took one of my early clients almost 2 weeks to finally get the courage up to talk to a girl. So, but he did it, and then next day he had a girlfriend. So
there you go.
Worked out for him.
Now, from your perspective, what would you say is kind of the key differences dating Ukrainian women versus American women, or Western women for that matter?
So the key difference is there's a lot of, America, women are more liberated. They work, they have their own money. Here in Ukraine, anyone they start college at 17, any college age student from 17 to 23, if they're going for their master's, 24, if they're working on the side and then they're not focusing on university, the government gives them a very small stipend. Their family's going to be supporting them. They're just not going to have that much money. So you're expected as a man to pay here, whereas in, Western countries, it's common to split a bill on a date these days. Didn't used to always be that way. So that's a big difference. Probably the biggest difference is building on that. Women here have seen the globalism and the advertising. They love iPhones here. They always want to look great and dress great and do their nails and do their hair. So they can be very materialistic here in Kyiv. And they want to eat at fancy restaurants, and there's plenty of foreigners here trying to take them out. They can hop on Tinder and be out at a fancy restaurant in 20 minutes if they want. So when you run into those girls, those are not the ones you want to meet here, but you're going to run into them, unfortunately, and those are kind of just ones you want to avoid unless you're into that. But I'm personally not. Most of my clients are not. So you want to find a more traditional girl who, you know, she's just not looking at you as a walking ATM. So there's a big economic disparity here, and that can create a little difference where you're the man, you're expected to pay for things, but don't get taken advantage of at the same time. You got to know where to draw the line.
Right. Now, I guess there's a difference too, as you've described. The women are either, really ultra materialistic, and they go after these things, whereas the other set of ladies, they're a little more mindful of finances and whatnot. Talk to me a little about that dichotomy and how that plays into, from your perspective, the collapse of the Soviet Union, the time that these ladies have grown up in. Does it make a difference from your perspective?
From my perspective, yeah, I think it does. From the perspective of the collapse of the Soviet Union, when basically that all happened and the West opened up and media came in and advertising came in, and you've got a politics issue here of a lot of people in Kyiv. I'd say it's 60% Russian speaking, 40% Ukrainian speaking, and just my opinion, I don't know what it actually is, just kind of what I've run into. So you have the pull of Ukraine eventually at one point wanted to join the EU, and that was prevented by the Russia taking Crimea, stopped it because territorial dispute. When that all happened, Kyiv's gone through a boom bust, through Maidan as well, in 2014, and it's been really economically unstable. So what they see on TV and in media, the iPhone advertisements, iPhones here drive me insane. First, I just don't like him as an IT guy, but every girl, I've literally been asked to go, if I go on a date with a girl, she'd be like, "So you're gonna buy me an iPhone?" And it drives me nuts. So
that's red flag number one.
Yeah. So if I see a girl carrying around an iPhone, I want nothing to do with her because she's one of the materialistic ones. It might be, an older generation one, but at some point she probably didn't buy that for herself. Some guy bought it for her. And also there's a big resale market and also in older iPhones, but also fake ones. They just look like an iPhone, have an Apple logo on them, but they're actually some Chinese Android thing. And, they just want the Apple logo. So you can actually just buy Apple logo stickers here.
Sure.
So, yeah, did that answer your question well enough?
Well, I guess some of the things that I've read is that, women who grew up in the Soviet era are more traditional ladies.
Oh, okay. So you're saying the
whereas the ladies who have grown up in the post-Soviet era, they're a little more materialistic. They're maybe a little more spoiled. I don't know if that's true or not, but
absolutely true. Older women here tend to be more traditional by far, and after that, and the younger women more materialistic. Whenever that happened, it's been a slow change, or really I think almost you could say rapid change in that materialism coming to the younger generation. So I have a client here, Chris. He's been together now with his girl for 5 weeks. He's 50 and she's 47. She almost speaks almost no English, but he told me a story just last night. We were out. He said that he has his favorite backpack here. He bought it at Niagara Falls, and he knew the strap was going to break soon, and one of the zippers doesn't work. So he goes to take a shower. And he had showed her this, and she actually just happened to, on her own, have brought, when she came over, a sewing kit. And while he's in the shower, he fixed his backpack, the strap, and the zipper as well. And he said this is one of the nicest things that's ever been done for him in 20 years.
Mm.
I can't imagine knowing any women from, in
Right.
America that know how to use a needle and thread correctly.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
so
Maybe your
and it's
grandmother.
yeah, right. I'm saying younger women
Yeah,
these days.
exactly.
Yeah, so there's that. And that makes me happy that that made him happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the older women haven't picked up on the materialism. They're at a different point in their life, and you don't find that in older women. But also, oh, it's difficult here because there is this perception of once they hit about 25, that's the wall here. If she's older than 25 and doesn't have a husband, or she, is a little more liberal and has decided to go down the career path, no husband, no kids at 25, they're done for. And especially by 30. By 30, there's a phenomenon in Japan and China of unwanted women at that point. Ukraine has a little bit of that too here, and that's about where it starts happening. So, for guys in, they're up to, 40, you can date all the way down to, as young as you want, 18 up, Americans 18 up, don't get confused there. But you should date a little young. You should expect to date a little younger here. You Because the older women, I've seen guys come here and they end up dating some single mom who's left an abusive husband or something, and they're really happy with that girl because she's nice. But you could have found that easier in America. So why come here and do that? Make something for and build your life for, what you want. If you're happy with that, great for you, but you don't need to get stuck with that here. Just make a little more effort and you're fine.
Well, and I guess too, in their defense, the men, they've got this opinion, or maybe not necessarily opinion. They've grown up with this idea that they've got all these women. The demographic difference, or the ratio between men and women is pretty widespread, and it's like maybe one man to 6 to 7 women. And so if the man feels like he's being mistreated, as it were, he doesn't like the situation, he's like, well, I've got 5 or 6 other women waiting for me, and he leaves the relationship. And so when again, in the defense of the older ladies past 25 or what have you, who have not settled down in a relationship, I wouldn't completely tag it on them as being their fault.
Oh yeah, it's not their fault at all.
Yeah. And maybe what you meant when you said that they're done for, the men just are not looking, the Slavic men are not looking for a woman at that age.
Right. Yeah, a successful Slavic guy. I'm talking about the locals here.
Yeah.
That's what makes it hard for those women to pair up at that point. The local Slavic men, and that's the culture here, is what I'm saying. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned
leaves
something.
Them available for foreigners,
Say again.
Which leaves them available for foreigners often.
Absolutely. Now you mentioned something that piqued my interest, and I've heard this a lot. Slavic men have a reputation of being very abusive.
They do, yes. I have heard this from numerous girls here that I know. It's not a joke to say if their boyfriend doesn't beat them, he's a good one. So yeah, they do get violent. Also, I have a rule. When I'm in the cab with a guy, with a client, I tell him rule number 1 of Ukraine: do not talk to Slavic men. Period. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You're not going to get much value out of it. Now, that's to start. You spent a month here, a little Ukrainian, you get the look and the idea, okay, it's safe to do so. But for your first little while here, avoid it, because you're more likely to end up in problems. You're going to end up talking to some guy who's just pissed off or drunk or angry, or doesn't like foreigners, and you might get your ass kicked. So it
Mhm.
does happen. Yeah, the Slavic men are pretty aggressive, but as long as you keep your head down and avoid them, you're not going to have any issues. I personally haven't here.
Yeah. Okay. Great advice. Uh, Tell the audience, John, about some of the maybe more frequent scams, or some of your highlights that you have a website that you talk about several scams, but share with the audience some of the things that you commonly see.
Okay, so this is a general one, but I'm going to tell one personally that happened to me. I didn't get scammed because I knew what to do to get out of it. This was about 2.5 weeks ago already. So basically, I keep Tinder installed for fun because I know 90 to 95% of these girls are scammers, and I want to stay up to date on what they're trying on me and how they're doing it so I can show other guys as well the conversations on my phone. So this girl messages me, and now I was previously out having dinner with my British friend Nick, who was leaving shortly. It was like a goodbye thing. And she messages me on Tinder after the match, and she says, "Let's meet up right now. Where are you?" Well, she's in Arena City. Don't go to Arena City. It sucks. There's nothing good there. It's also high price places. So she wants to meet immediately. That's a red flag. So I'm an adventurous guy. Sure. So I walk over there. It's only 20 minutes. I need the exercise. I get there. We go into a restaurant called Dubai. Dubai is one of these restaurants that offers anywhere from 10 to 40% kickback on the bill to the girl. It's like a referral code. Her goal, I see her, I sit down. By the time I got there, she was already there. She already had a double whiskey in front of her, a fruit plate in front of her, and a hookah. I sit down. I know what's up already. I take a look at the menu. I ask her, "Hey, so what whiskey is that? I'm going to try to order it too." I get the menu. Oh, it's 600 grivna for this whiskey. Um, it's a double, obviously. So she spent 1,200 grivna on a so $50 whiskey basically, one drink. The fruit plate is 900 grivna, and the hookah, I don't know what it's well over 1,000 there. You should only pay anywhere from 300 to at the most 600 at some clubs. It's definitely way over 1,000 there. So I excused myself. I said, "Where's the bathroom?" She's like, "Oh, over there." So okay, I go. Come back, sit down for a second. The waiter comes by. I don't order anything because the second I order something, the man's expected to pay. I'm in trouble. So she's already ordering another drink while I'm looking through the menu, and she brings up, she's like, "So, do you like BDSM?" And I'm just shocked. That's like
What
the
did
third
she
thing out
ask?
of
What did
it.
she
Just
ask?
I like BDSM, kinky sex stuff,
Hmm.
because that's her scam. Of course,
Right.
she wants you thinking sex,
Yeah.
and I'm just confused by this. And I'm like, "No, not really. Tell me more. What are you into?" And she goes on about details, and she says, "So you want to get out of here and go to the sex toy store?" So I get creative, and I said, "Sure, we can go to the one next to my place, and I'll order us an Uber." So immediately pull out the phone, and I'm boom ordering Uber. Now, actually, I'm ordering the Uber to my house because I'm getting out of there and I need a cab. Definitely not going with her to this. But other guys would have fallen for this. And she's like, "No, no, no, we need to go to the one right here next to Dubai." And I show her my phone. I'm like, "I already knew her. It's just fine. We can just go to the one by my place." And she's getting pissed off because her scam's not working. Well, fortunately, I haven't ordered anything. So I basically said, "No, no, no, lady. I know your scam. You're a bovia." And of course, that means prostitute, effectively. I call her a whore to her face. And she gets all angry, and the water she has, she throws it on me. She says, "Well, you could just leave." So I attempt to leave. And of course, I'm getting stopped by managers and bouncers that I need to pay the bill. And I said, "Look here, guy, I didn't order anything. I came in over here. I saw this person. I've been sitting less than 5 minutes. She already ordered all this. Quick explanation, but I never stop walking, and I just walk right on out of there. You know, I could tell that the place was not going to stop me because you size it up before you go in there, so I knew it was safe. There's actual clientele there eating, but she's on the scam thing, and that's one that happened to me. So to cover what the scams there are, one, she's using Tinder to bait you there. She's getting a kickback on that bill. She's also following up with the sex talk and trying to get you to go buy something. Had some other guy fallen for this and gone to the sex toy store, whatever she was going to pick out was going to be marked up, and she was going to get you to pay for it because it's what you're going to do that night, right? And she's going to just return it for money the next day to get the money back. This is common not only for sex toy store stuff, but the other one is like swimming. They'll ask if you want to go swimming. Let's go to the pool, but they'll say they don't own any swimwear. You'll go to the mall. You'll pick out a $40 to $60 bathing suit for them. That same bathing suit has been bought and returned 20 times because that's the one that's they're doing that with. So the girl knows, the store knows, everybody's in on it, and you're screwed. And then it could have got worse. So let's say she might have some connections, and you actually do all this, and you do pay all this, and she's making money on the front. And let's say me and her had gone back to my place. Well, now she's in your apartment. She can easily unlock the door and let someone in to come and rob you. And that can happen too. So you got to be really safe and careful. And by avoiding the early easy scams, you can save yourself a lot of trouble later as well.
Oh, that's great advice. Yeah, and I guess if guys are coming over wanting to hook up, and they've got these dating apps, if the lady initiates the conversation, the hookup, that to me is a red flag, because a traditional Ukrainian woman, she wants to be pursued, not the other way around.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
If you're dating I would like to say a good one or a traditional one,
Right.
it's going to be a couple dates before you're going steady or having relations, intimate relations. Do not expect to hook up on the first night. There are some girls that are going to do that. If you're 6'4" tall and really good looking, muscular, and great face, chiseled, and you get on Tinder, you might once a week get one of those that just wants to hook up, and you go over to their place. They're not taking you to a restaurant first and on a date. They want you to just come over, or they want to come to your hotel room. Now that can also be a scam, of course. Yeah. But you might get there, and all of a sudden she says, well, it's going to be 2,000 hryvnia. Does that to enough guys, she's going to get paid eventually. Yeah. So always be careful. But like I always say, just delete the online stuff. But yeah, the more traditional women do want to go on numerous dates and do want to be pursued. And you're not going to hook up the first night with those ones that are worth keeping long term.
Right. Now, John, what sorts of Ukrainian or Slavic traditions? We didn't previously talk about this, but are there some traditions that men should be aware of as they?
Yeah, I had a friend ruin it because we missed this one. I didn't tell him it. He wasn't a client of mine, or else I'd have gone through my notes with him. But he went on a date and he screwed it up. It was his third date with her, and she's a very nice girl, traditional. I still speak with her actually, but she tells me later how he screwed it up, and he was wondering why he screwed it up. I didn't know how he screwed it up until I talked to her, and I learned that here in Ukraine, and I've also personally done this myself before I knew better. Kissing a girl in Ukraine on a first date or second date, it's about 50-50. It used to be worse. You don't do that here. If you're kissing a girl goodnight or something, that means you're going steady. Here in America, you might get a goodnight kiss. Here, that's like holding hands. People intimately hold, friends, girls you're out with, you're going to hold hands with her. If you're kissing her, that means she's your girlfriend, and she's, going pretty steady with you. Although that custom is going away more so as they get more westernized here, but you'd still do find girls that abide by that. That's what they learned growing up. So you can ruin a date by going for it.
Yeah, men want to go fast in getting to the ultimate goal, whatever it is that they're seeking to achieve in the relationship. Ukrainian women, it's not that they don't have their mind on these things, but they really want to know, is the man serious?
Yeah.
And is he going to keep me and treat me right throughout the duration of the relationship, and not use me and then dump me?
That's absolutely right. Another one that I've noticed here is a girl might plan a date with you, but she kind of leaves. She might cancel the day before with some excuse, and I would call that like what's called a shit test. She wants to see that if she can do that to you, are you still going to pursue her? And you might space your dates, 2 dates a week is pretty good. But otherwise, it might be 2 weeks till you see her again in the early stages. So, you got to keep your options open and meet a lot of women in order to find the ones that are, where you want to be in the level of interest and how often you're seeing them
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
to
do your
eventually find the one.
say again?
To eventually find the one, if that's what you're interested in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do your clients, do they come over? I mean, are they mostly coming over for business or with the intent of meeting a lady and they're here for maybe 2 weeks?
So most of my guys actually they come for 2 weeks to a month, and one of the first things I tell them is good luck leaving. Uh, so many of them just do not get on that plane and go back until the end of their 90 days. Some have even said, I just don't need to go back, so why would I and stay? They're just so happy here. Most of my clients are looking for something in life. They know what they want, and it's oftentimes women. Most guys don't come here for business that are my clients because I'm more of a party guy. Let's go out and have fun. So I'm meeting that crowd. However, I've had a couple that do business here. Doing business in Ukraine can be hard, and if you're doing business in Ukraine, you probably know what's up here with business already. Ukraine does have problems with corruption. And the local Ukrainian businesses and businessmen are not like Americans, where a handshake deal is still good.
Right.
You got to be careful with them. I'll do it with my hands. The one guy holds out the money and the other guy holds out what you want, and as quick as you possibly can, you grab it from each other, and then you part ways. Reputation, locals don't worry so much about their reputation here in the long term, which is unfortunate, but that's changing, and it is becoming more honest and Western here over time.
Interesting. I do have some experience just with some of the cabbies there. You agree upon a price, and then when everything's said and done, they try to, negotiate a different price. It's like, no. So, kind of like that handshake as you're describing, a handshake over there is not, it's not appreciated as much.
You can't
just here in the West.
Right. Yeah. Avoid cabs if at all possible. Uclon, Uber, and Bolt. Uber, I think, is the best.
Yeah.
It's a little more expensive, but yeah, you go with those services.
But it's a mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those cab drivers, they've, I just avoid them. I just don't want to deal with local cab drivers.
Yeah. Would you say that
bad things to say about
Uber's been a really good experience for you by and large?
Yeah, Uber's been great by and large, except somewhere between 3 and 5 a.m. It can be tough to get one if you're farther away than center. Which in that the case, call Bolt. There'll be a Bolt available as a backup.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want to talk about any other scams that men should be aware of?
Okay, sure. So in my story, we covered, let's see, the restaurant kickbacks, the buying gifts kickback, where she's going to return it, and that she might rob you. Also, we covered Tinder, just generally that if she's from internet dating, she's probably trying to scam you. That covers 4 of the main ones.
Okay.
If they just check out my website and go to kingofkyiv.com, there's a whole article with 8 of them, and they just get progressively worse with little anecdotes about things that have happened. But the other one I want to cover is the bill. Often here, because you're a foreigner and they know you can't probably read the bill, you're just going to pay the total, and they will charge you more for something. So things like ribs or steaks here are sold by 100-gram weights. So you pay a price per weight. So this one restaurant called, I hate this place, Happy Girl Bar. Great food, but they'll scam every foreigner that walks in there if they can.
It kind of sounds like Hooters.
Exactly. If you've been there, it basically is a Hooters. All the waitresses are in tight little cutoffs, and food's great. Experience is great. They're gonna scam you if you're a foreigner.
Right.
So I order 300 grams of ribs. They're gonna be 55 grivna per 100 grams. The bill comes, and they're trying to charge me for 10.4 portions of 100 grams of ribs. Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
300% more.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out to much, like an extra $12, but they did it. And I caught it because I can read my bills, but anybody else is going to fall for it, So be careful. That's why you got to learn a little Ukrainian, or at least how to read a bill properly, which is something I teach clients here.
Okay.
I keep a whole bunch of bills, and I pull out a stack of receipts that I have here that are, because they look different. Some places charge a 10% included service charge, which is effectively a tip. Some don't. So I teach them to look for that. Also the weights and how bills do the weighting of, when you order things by weight here. So we walk through bills, and also you got to remember that they set the price. So when they bring you your bill, they're not like in America where it's a point of sale system where they just put stuff here everywhere. Sometimes it's manually done on these little machines, and they can change the price of whatever it is. So you may order something that's 200 grivna, and when your bill comes, they're trying to charge you 400 for it. Or you'll specifically order in English, and you order one item, they bring you a different item that's more expensive. So you gotta be careful about that too. Tons of these little ones. You should know what your bill is going to be at the ordering process, so that if there's any discrepancy when the bill comes, you should start looking for what's wrong. Happens too often here. I wish it didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fantastic. Did you have any closing comments, or, I mean, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, okay. So I will send you a copy of my business card as well.
Okay.
But first thing to do is to go to my website, which has all my contact information on it, which is kingofkyiv.com. That's spelled KINGOFKYIV. There's a difference in the Russian and Ukrainian spelling.
Yeah.
Big Ukrainian thing here, so the correct way. My favorite and preferred is Telegram. On Telegram at King of Kyiv. On Instagram at Kings with an S of Kyiv, so Kings of Kyiv. I'll give you my phone number in case anybody contacts you about it. It's also, my phone number is available on the website, and I also do Discord. And on Discord, I love Discord. Capital K, lowercase e, K, hashtag or number sign, 8796. So Keck 8796.
We'll put that in the description box. We'll post this on YouTube and Facebook. Did you have?
And then of course my email address, kingsofkyiv@gmail.com for now.
Okay. All right.
With an S.
Fantastic. All right. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Always a pleasure.
Love to have you back. Maybe we can talk about some other experiences.
Sure. I got a ton of stories here. A lot of horror ones too.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, fantastic.
You could do a whole show on that.
Good deal. Well, you have a great evening.
Okay, you too.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
See you.